Alright, hello. This is English Rationalization Part 3. Sir, uh, paningkamutan na ako nga butngan og what do you call this, subtitle. Because grabe kalo akong mic. Pero if dili, then di na lang ako butngan. Okay, so moving on. In formal English grammar, subject-verb agreement ensures that the verb corresponds properly with their subjects in both number and person. However, collective nouns such as committee, faculty, or jury may take either singular or plural verbs depending on the sense intended. Which of the following sentences correctly demonstrates this rule? So, ang explanation dito, which is written over here by my Word document, ang rule is that dapat singular or plural daw nga noun ang collective noun depende kung ang group kay nag-act as a single unit, as a singular verb, or as an individual members or the plural verb. So sa case nito, pag naatay the committee along with together with accompanied by ay mga participial na phrase ni sila. So dapat ang verb ay mo-agree siya sa main subject which is the committee alone. Okay. So for option A, along with advisors, sorry. The committee, along with the advisors, have agreed to revise the policy after careful review. So wrong manidaan because emphasis on the have sa sentence. Ang verb kay nag-imply nga siya, ang singular, ang committee dili is a singular character. So nag-imply siya nga ang singular ang committee, which is wrong nadaan. It is supposed to be has. Okay. So for option B is the committee together with the panel are currently preparing their respective reports. So emphasis sa R o sa panel. Where is this? Nara. Ang their kay nagsuggest siya ang mga members nag-act individually, which is makita ni mo diri. Pero ang verb kay are dapat kay nga naman kay dapat mo agree siya with the committee ani. If singular siya noon. So sa American English pa lang mag-take si committee, which is this again, with is. Okay. Dapat is currently preparing their respective reports. Kay unless the sense is clearly plural, of course, per dili man. Pero their respective reports kani kana kay nag-imply og mga members individually. So pasabutan na kay each members sa committee na work individually on their own reports. And dayon nag-imply og mga members individually, of course. So sa British English, okay ra ang plural. Pero ang question man kay nag-ask og formal English grammar, which technically British is the formal English grammar, pero we don't talk about that. And likely mo follow siya sa rule nga ang verb kay dapat mo agree with the main subject or the singular part. So R is wrong in here. Emphasis sa sa R within the sentence itself. Okay, option C is the committee accompanied by its secretary is meeting to finalize the research framework. Committee, dire, plus parenthetical phrase, just like I said on the explanation, is equal to singular verb is. Is. Ingon ko sa option B. Okay. Option A dito. Is meeting to finalize the research framework. Singular verb is. Okay? So, correct na ni. Boom! Onya sa option D, the committee and its secretary is meeting to finalize the research framework. The committee and its secretary ay compound subject, just like I said here. So, need na siya o plural verb nga are. So, ang in-place nila are meeting. Okay, so therefore, our answer is letter C. Okay, good job. Modifiers play a critical role in ensuring clarity and precision in each sentence structure. When a modifier is improperly placed or lacks a clearly referent, it leads to ambiguity or error, meaning magkakause confusion. Which sentences illustrates a dangling modifier that fails to logically connect to the subject it modifies. Ang explanation sa dangling modifier is kay mag-occur na siya when ang word or phrase that begins with a sentence kay di siya mo logically match sa subject sa main clause. So for option A, after finishing the experiment, the results were analyzed carefully. Ang modifier diri is after finishing the experiment, nag-apply nga ang person or people who finished it. Ang subject diri is the results. Pero the results did not finish the experiment. So this is a dangling modifier. So for option B, after finishing the experiment, the students analyzed the results carefully. A modifier diri is after finishing the experiment. Of course. Just like I said in option A, ang subject diri is the students, which is wrong since they finish it. Ang students ang nag-finish it. So logical siya nga sentence. So no dangling modifier. So for option C is the students analyze the results carefully after finishing the experiment. Again, after finishing the experiment, which is asa ba to? This. Ay nag-modify gyapon sa students. So logically, ang students gyapon ang nag-finish experiment. So wrong na siya. Option D, the results were carefully analyzed after the experiment was finished. Di dangling modifier because after the experiment was finished, kay adverbial clause with its own subject na experiment. Okay. Delete na students. And wala po nag-imply sa main clause ang subject nga gabuhat sa finishing. So wala may subject diri. Ang own subject naman is experiment. So wrong ni siya. Therefore, our correct answer is letter A. Okay, nice. So for number 3, in examining the structure of verb tenses, linguists note that irregular verbs often change from form entirely, unlike regular verbs that follow predictable endings. Among the options below, which best shows the simplest past tense of the irregular verb to arise? Okay, among job here is to change the verb nga arise. So, analyze na to isa-isa. What do you call this? Choices. O kani. Option A is arising. This is a present particle ni. Kay, mainan mo kay na ay affix na ing. Arises is a third person singular past tense form ni. So, gigamit ni siya with subjects like he, she, or it. So, personal pronouns. Wrong. Arose is a simple past tense form ni. So, gigamit ni siya to describe an action nga nahitabo entirely sa past o dili connected sa present by a helper verb. So, for option D, arisen is a past participle ni. Dili siya pwede ma-use alone as the main verb. Dapat ma-use siya with a helper verb like have, has, or had. Ang example is, he has arisen. Kaya kung wala ni, like, he arisen. Pangit, diba? No, paminamon. So, therefore, our answer is letter C. Okay. Lexical semantics deals with the relationship between words. When two share the same or nearly the same meaning, they are termed synonyms. Which of the following pairs accurately represent this relationship? Okay. I-found sa nato ang definition sa ila each, which is in here. Okay. Option A is frigid means very tugnaw or very cold. Samantalang si scorching is very init. So, dili siya synonyms. Ano sila? I think it's called an antonym. Pero correct me if I'm wrong, sir. Okay. Transparent means clear, see-through. Okay, kanang makita sa mata. Unya, ang opaque means tibugol siya, meaning dili siya see-through. So, automatic, dili sila synonym. So for option C, concise means dali ra. Okay? Unya, si terse, I don't know how to pronounce that, or if I'm correct, terse means dali ra to the point of abruptness. So this is correct. Ano na siya? Synonym. And for option D, generous means giving or liberal. Samantalang si stingy, I don't know, means unwilling to give or mean siya. So, antonym ni siya, dili synonym. So, therefore, easy. Ang mong answer is letter C. Oh, no. Okay. Sige. For number 5 is the sentence, walking to school, the rain began pouring heavily, contains a structural flaw that distorts meaning. Which explanation best identifies and clarifies the error? So, ang explanation, walking to school, kay participle phrase ni siya. Mga dapat mo logically attach na sa subject sa main clause. So, diri, ang subject sa main clause diri is the rain. So, ang pasabot, ang choose meaning good sa sentence is, ang rain kay naglakaw sa school, which is illogical, di ba? Okay. So, for option A, the participle phrase, walking to school, modifies the rain, and illogical subject. Okay, correct na ni. Na-identify na nato ang correct answer. Dangling modifier siya kasi walking to school cannot describe the rain. Boom! Logic. Anyways, option B is the gerund walking should be replaced by walk for verb consistency. Digyapon kay ma-fix ang core ma-fix ang core issue even if i-replace nimo ang affix nila, which is ing and ed, unless ang subject ma-change put og appeal, which is the rain. Okay? So for option C, the adverb heavily improperly modifies the subject rain. Heavily is correctly modified pouring. Pero dili ang subject rain. So, mali na ni. Wrong. So option D is the verb began should be changed to begins to maintain present tense. Dili pud tense ang problem diri. So the meaning is illogical yapon regardless if i-change nimo ang tense nila. So therefore our answer is letter A. Good job. Okay, number 6 is the context of a biographical essay. The sentence, despite repeated failures, her tenacious pursuit of discovery never wavered. Use the term tenacious from the root word tenacity. Describe the subject's disposition. What is the most accurate interpretation of the word tenacious in the sentence? So, taga-TCM ako, I know that tenacity is some positive word because sections dito sa TCA kay mga positive na mga feelings. Section tenacity. Ang word na tenacious means holding fast. Just like I said, it's a positive word. Holding fast, which is, nag-describe siya sa isa ka tao na who persists firmly and dili mag-give up easily. Bisag unsa na nakalisod ang situation nimo. So, option A, weak and easily discouraged, dili ni. This is an antonym, opposite meaning. So, mali ni. Firmly persistent and determined, boom! Nakuha na nato ang answer, letter B. Nga, i-analyze na nato si option C. Option C is occasionally doubtful yet hopeful, dili accurate. Kasi, tenacious is nag-imply siya o steady and persistence, not doubt. And option D, resistance to logical persuasion. This is wrong again. This is an entirely different word na describe niya sa letter D. Therefore, our options are only letter B. Therefore, our answer is letter B. Okay, very good. When encountering unfamiliar vocabulary, readers can often deduce meaning through context clues, linguistic signals surrounding a word. Which statement best explains how context clues function within comprehension? Okay. Context clues meaning is kanang words or phrases around nga unfamiliar word nga makatabang sa reader mag-guess ang iyahang meaning. So for option A, context clues obscure the true meaning by adding unnecessary examples. Wrong, opposite ni sa purpose niya. So option B, context clues provide contextual hints or explanation that help infer meaning without a dictionary. correct na ni because there are many types of context clues. I believe there were 4 types of context clues, pero let's not talk about that. Basta correct si option B. Context clues rely on numerical references rather than descriptive detail. Wrong ni. Mugamit ni siya og bisag unsa nga hints dili kay numbers. So for option B, context clues are limited to identifying synonyms with parentheses. Narrow ra kaayo ni because mo appear ni siya in many forms, dili lang kay parentheses. So therefore, our correct answer is letter B. Okay. The active and passive voice offer distinct stylistic effects. Okay, never mind. In active voice, the subject performs the action. In passive, the subject receives it. Which of the following sentences is in the passive voice appropriately constructed for formal writing? Okay, explanation sa passive voice structure, form of to be plus past participle. Kanya, optional na yun ang by na phrase. So the subject is the receiver of the action. For option A, the students conducted the research using standardized methods. So ang subject diri is the students doing the action. So ang verb diri is conducted, which is an active na voice, which means automatic mali na siya. Go home. Option B is the research was conducted by the students using standardized methods. The research was receiving the action itself, and then ang verb was conducted, which is also past tense. So passive voice ni. So tama na ni. The research conducted the students using standardized methods. Active voice, nonsensical. Yeah. Using standardized methods, the students conduct the research. Conduct is a present tense, so it is an active voice. Okay, so atong answer there is letter B. Okay. So for number 9, the principle of parallelism requires the elements in a series or list maintain consistent grammatical form. Which sentence below correctly applies this rule within a professional context? Parallelism means ang mga items sa list or series is dapat magka-same grammatical form. Meaning, kung ang isa ka sentence kay nasa past tense, dapat past tense sa na siya throughout the sentence. Okay. Example na. Option A is the analyst reviewed the report, checking the data accuracy, and he prepares the summary. Reviewed diri kay past due to the affix nga ed. Checking is present participle because it does not contain past or future nga mga what do you call this, affix o suffix. And prepares is present. Okay, present ni. So dili siya parallel. Just like I said, kung ang isa ka word is past, dapat past na siya throughout the sentence. Okay, for option B, the analyst reviewed the report, checked the data, and prepared the summary. Oh, tama na din because reviewed is past, check is past, and prepared are all in simple past tense. So tama na din. So option C is the analyst reviewing the report, check the data, and prepare summaries. Reviewing is a gerund. Check is past. Unya, prepares is present. So mali ni. So option D is the analyst has reviewed, checks, and preparing the report simultaneously. Has reviewed is present perfect. Checks is present, and preparing is a present participle. So mali na niitaan. So therefore, our answer is letter B. Okay. Number 10 na ta. Halfway there. A misplaced modifier can unintentionally change the meaning of a sentence. Consider the research presented the data to the panel wearing a blue dress. Which revision correctly clarifies who was wearing the blue dress? Ang explanation is a misplaced modifier wearing a blue dress is nag-modify siya sa panel. The panel. Which is illogical unless ang panel nag-wear sa dress. Ang intended meaning is that ang researcher is nag-wear sa dress, ang blue dress. Option A is wearing a blue dress, the researcher presented the data to the panel. Gi-place niya ang modifier tapad ni researcher. Kani ang modifier, kani ang subject. Making it very clear na ang researcher kay nag-wear sa dress. Okay. For option B, the researcher presented the data wearing a blue dress to the panel. Ang nag-modify there is the data and is wearing the blue dress, which is very awkwardly placed. Kay ang intended meaning ana is ang data ay nag-wear sa dress. Okay. Option C is the data wearing a blue dress was presented to the panel by the researcher. Nag-ingon daw nga ang data nagsuot sa dress. Illogical. Kay walang mag-dress, ay wali data nga mag-dress. Option D is the researcher, the data wearing a blue dress, and presented it to the panel. Confusing and grammatically nonsensical. So, self-explanatory na. So, therefore, our answer is letter A. Kami na sa COVID, sir. Okay. Continuing on our rationalization, verb tense consistency contributes to coherent academic writing. Identify the sentence that properly maintains a single time frame appropriate for formal reports. Verb consistency meaning kanang keeping actions within the same time frame sa isa ka sentence unless a shift is logically required. So option A is the team analyzes the data and presented their findings afterwards. Malik na ni because analyzes diri is present while presented is past. So wrong. Mixed time frame siya. Dapat isa na ka time frame. Option B is the team analyzed the data and presented their findings afterwards. Analyzed diri is past while present is past full. So consistent past tense and consistent and non-time frame po siya. My bad. So the team had analyzed the data and presents their findings afterward. Had analyzed there is past perfect while present is present, inconsistent and mixed nga time frame. Option D is the team analyze data and will present the findings afterwards. Analyzes there is presented. Present the ilog. Nakuha ni na typo ni natin po kanina. And will presented is future. So wala yung single time frame. Wrong na. So our answer here is option B. The SQ3R method, the survey, question, read, recite, and review, improves reading comprehension through structured engagement. Which scenario best applies this method in a study session? Okay, di na ako mag-dito explain na, kung i-explain naman sa sentence. So if so, then the SQ3R is nagstand as survey, question, read, recite, and review. Option A is reads the text repeatedly to memorize it word for word. Wrong na. Rote memorization na siya. Dili na SQ3R. So, wrong. Option B is scans the headings, formulates questions, reads actively, summarizes, and reviews. Matches well ni sa SQ3R. So, tama na siya. And then option C is highlights every unfamiliar word and looks them up in a dictionary. So, the-focus lang ni siya only sa vocabulary. Dili siya structured nga comprehension. So, option D is reads only the introduction and conclusion to save time. So, skimming na, reading and writing, not the full SQ3R. So, therefore, our answer is letter B. Okay. Number 13 is, writers often vary sentence structures for rhythm and emphasis. Which statement best differentiates between a simple and a complex sentence? A simple sentence is nag-contain siya og one independent clause, subject o verb nga nag-express in a complete thought, while ang complex sentence is nag-contain og one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Clause nga dapat dili magka-stand alone kung nag-start sila og subordinating conjunctions like because although, when, and if. Fanboys. Okay. So, option A, a simple sentence contains one independent clause, while a complex sentence contains one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Correct na ni? Oh no, my bad. Correct na ni ang option A because nag-matching siya sa definition as my explanation. Okay. My bad. Excuse me, sir. Option B is a complex sentence contains two or more independent clauses joined by coordinating conjunctions. Mali ni because compound sentence ang nag-define ani. Option C is a simple sentence always contains a compound predicate while a complex sentence does not. Mali gyapon ni. Simple sentence is wala nag-require o compound predicate. Nya ang option D, a complex sentence is always longer than a simple one. Wrong. Mali ni. Pero, long man yun ng complex sentence. So, dili gyapon na mag-define of characteristics ang length. Therefore, our answer is letter A. Namali ko ba? Oh, drawing. Okay. Read this line. Despite global challenges, the steady advance of technology promises a future of unprecedented progress. Which analysis best describes the tone of the sentence? Okay, identify sa nato ang keywords na conveys the attitude of the sentence. Despite global challenges is the acknowledged yes problems but the setup of contrast. Ang steady advance of technology is a positive view sa technological growth of the world and promises is messages of hope o positive expectations, while ang unprecedented progress is a strongly positive forward-looking na siya nga phrase. So, mag-match na dahil ta sa options din. Skeptical and dismissive of modern development. Dili, ang sentence is positive towards technology. So, wrong na siya. Option A. Option B is neutral and strictly informative. Dili po. The use na siya positive, hopeful language. Yung option C is optimistic and forward-looking towards innovation. Yes, yes, yes! The focus sa promise of progress despite the challenges na gi-convey sa sentence. Okay, option D is apathetic and indifferent. Opposite ni, ga-express siya o clear positive stance. So, automatic, wrong nga ni. This is wrong and this is wrong. So, our answer is option C. Therefore, our answer is option C. Number 15. In the word disproportionate, how does the prefix dis modify the meaning of the root? Root word here is proportion. So, ang adjective form ani is proportionate. Kanya, ang prefix, which is a word before the actual root word, which is blah 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 blah. Sa English, ang prefix this is the mean na siya og not. The opposite of or away. So option A is it reverses or negates the meaning implying inequality or imbalance. Correct na ni. This is the negate siya sa root word na proportion, leading to the idea of imbalance. Option B is it intensifies the root. Wrong ni. Ang affix ani is this. I know. Dili yan. Ang this is dili ga intensify. Ang prefix ani is hyper or super. Option C is it transforms the root word into its comparative form. Dili. Comparatives use nga phrase or the affix or more. Dili this. Unya ang option D, it changes the root word into a noun. Wrong ni. Proportion is already a noun. Disproportionate is an adjective. So, our option right here is option A. Therefore, that is our answer. Number 16. The statement, the bank is closed today, may convey two meanings depending on context. Which explanation best describes this semantic ambiguity, meaning confusing? Okay. Ang ambiguity there sa sentence is the bank, which can mean two different things, either a financial institution or land alongside the river na close for flood control something something. So this example is called a homonym. same spelling and pronunciation but different meaning. Okay. The word bank could refer either to a financial institution or to the side of a river. So, correctly daan as I explained because na-identify niya ang homonym, ang ambiguity. So, the verb is can be interpreted as past or future tense. So, wrong me. Ang is ambiguously present tense. Okay. Option C is the prepositional phrase today can function as an wait, as an adverbial clause. Wrong name because today is a noun functioning as an adverb pero dili the cause of ambiguity. Therefore, correct ang correcting the today di I'm my bad. Ang option D is the article the implies plurality causing confusion. So wala the imply og plurality ang the. So pwede siya used with singular or plural nouns. Therefore, our answer is letter A. Option A. Pwede po. Number 17. Asan ang 17? Now. Writers often deliberate between using active or passive constructions, which the justification does suppose the use of active voice in scientific and technical communication. So, active versus passive voice in scientific technical writing is active voice is the researcher conducted the experiment. So, ang subject diri ang performs action, which is the researcher. Kaya, the passive voice is the experiment was conducted by the researcher. Ang subject ang nag-receive sa action, which is the researcher again. Option A is increases sentence complexity and variety. Wrong me because active voice is gonna usually reduce ya of complexity kumpara sa passive. Option B is it clearly attributes actions to responsible agents, improving readability and accountability. Correct ni because ang active voice is i-clear niya kinsa ang nagbuhat sa action, improving transparency and making sentences easier to follow. Okay. Option C is it reduces the need for transitional devices between clauses. So, wrong na siya because ang transition is related to siya sa logical flow, dili voice. Okay, so option D is it conceals the subject to promote objectivity. Passive voice na, dili active voice. So automatically, wrong ning letter D. Therefore, our option right here is option B. Therefore, that is our answer. Letter A. Wait, let me drink water, sir. Okay. Number 18. In formal research writing, adherence to grammatical accuracy is essential for credibility. Why is maintaining subject-verb agreement especially important in this context? Okay, explanation is subject-verb agreement. Pasabot is ang subject nag-take og singular verb o plural subject nag-take siya og plural verb. That will always be universal. So the analysis shows na ang singular. Kanya, the analysis show. Na-notice nimo walay S ang show during part. So, mao ng plural. Okay. It ensures the text aligns with stylistic conventions but has little effect on clarity. Wrong! Subject-verb agreement or SVA is dili ma-affect ang clarity. Errors lang ang maka-confuse sa reader about unsa gi-discuss. So, ang option B right here is it guarantees logical coherence and strengthens the author's authority and professionalism. Correct me because proper agreement kay nag-ensure siya nga ang mga readers is nag-understood sa relationship o sa concepts itself. Ang option C is it allows flexibility in expression without affecting comprehension. Mali ni ang SBA wala nagtugod o kalibog. Gikinahanglan yun ni aron maklaro ang sentence. Option D is it adds unnecessary complexity to already technical prose. Mali ni, dili ni unnecessary ang complexity. Nagpaspas ni sa pagsabot sa text. So So therefore, our answer is letter B. Last two questions. Okay. A study reading an article about quantum computing concludes that quantum computers have completely replaced traditional ones based on standard critical reading practices, which evaluation is most accurate. So, analyze nato ang choices. The conclusion is correct because the passage supports the total replacement. Wrong me. So, nag-assume ang article nga ga-support sa claims sa students, which ka-contradict siya sa real-life world facts about quantum computing. So, ang isa ka critical reader kay mag-check yun na siya always sa actual claims against the known evidence of the text. So, wrong ning letter A. Option B is the conclusion is flawed because the text indicates that quantum computing is still experimental. Correct na. Correct ni because pinaka-accurate ni nga evaluation based sa standard critical reading practices. Option C is the conclusion is irrelevant because the passage only discusses software. Wrong ni. Ang conclusion is directly about hardware, dili software. Okay? Nya, ang option D is the conclusion is logical since quantum and classical computing are synonyms. Wrong me. Quantum and classical computing are distinct and dili synonyms. But operate sila fundamentally on different principles. So therefore, our answer is letter B. Okay. Last number. In linguistics, competence refers to a speaker's intuitive understanding of language systems, while performance pertains to actual language use. Why is it vital for students to develop linguistic competence, including phonology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics? So, explanation nato. I-analyze nato ang choices bawat isa. It focuses solely on grammar rules and ignores meaning and context. Wrong ni, because opposite of the truth ni, linguistic competence sa definition kay ga-include og semantics and pragmatics. Dili lang kay grammar rules. Option B is it equips learners to interpret and produce language appropriately across varied contexts. Correct, because ang precise purpose of develop of linguistic competence is through varied context. It encourages rote memorization of vocabulary lists. Wrong! While part ang vocabulary sa semantics, linguistic competence is about underlying systems sa language. Dili lang kay memorizing a list of words. Kanya, ang option B is it restricts creativity in language learning. Wrong yapon because true competence is the provides siya sa foundational rules na magka-enable o creativity. So therefore, our option is letter B. And we are done. I will submit this later, sir. Nara akong final answer key, sir. So, thank you. Maura to. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!